Okay, welcome to section 2 of this ebook for cash secured puts and cover calls. Calling this a beginner's guide because it is for beginners. Section 2 here is really meant for beginners. I'm going to go over what stocks are. So the very basics. I wrote this so a middle school student could figure out and follow along and catch on to all this stuff. If you already know what the stock market is and you buy and sell stocks, you can probably skip this chapter. If you know what an ETF is, you can skip this chapter. If you don't know what an ETF is, you might want to watch this, and it won't be very long, I promise. All right, so stock market basics for true beginners. Once again, I'll say if you already know what this stuff is, you can skip this chapter. But if you want to review it real quick, that's good too. So anyhow, so what is a stock? So a stock is nothing more than a tiny piece of a company. So if you own one share in a company, let's say like Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, you own a little bit, a little slice, a little piece of that business. And as the company grows and gets bigger, your stock becomes more valuable. So really owning stock is very simple. You own a little piece of the business. You do so to support the long-term success, and you share in the profits either through growth or through dividends, or both. So companies, they issue stock to raise money, sort of like taking out a loan to build something new or to expand. And by buying a share of stock allows you to take part of the growth. Okay, so now we know what a stock is. A stock has a share price. So the share price is the amount that a person is willing to pay for one share of the stock or the ETF, exchange traded fund. Now we're going to cover exchange traded funds here in a little bit, so don't worry if you don't know what that is quite yet. So the price of the stock or ETF is constantly moving because there's hundreds of thousands or even millions of people constantly buying and selling. So typically prices rise when more people want to buy than sell. And the opposite happens, the price usually falls when more people want to sell than there are buyers. Some things that can influence the price of the stock are things such as the company earnings, news and announcements. So for example, something happens and Twitter seems to be the go-to place for news nowadays. So something might be tweeted or X and causes the price to move up or down, economic conditions, investor psychology, and supply and demand. So here's something I want to mention for the first time, and I'll mention this a few more times as this book goes on. You don't really need to be able to predict the price of stocks to use cash secured puts and cover calls successfully. And we'll explain more of that here later. Okay, so what is an ETF? Just looked at that a few minutes ago. So an ETF is a collection of stocks bundled into a single investment. When you buy one share of an ETF, you're buying a small basket of stocks. And I'll make a notation here. There are single stock ETFs, but for this lesson, when I'm talking about ETFs, I'm mostly talking about the basket of stocks. I'm mostly talking about multiple stocks that are in a basket that are part of the ETF, not single stocks so much. So some examples of an ETF is QQQ, SPY, and VTI. So for example, QQQ contains 100 of the large NASDAQ tech companies. NASDAQ is a stock exchange. Like the New York Stock Exchange, you have the NASDAQ. The SPY contains 500 of the largest US companies. These two are very popular. VTI contains stocks of almost the entire US stock market. So when people talk about being diversified, VTI is probably the most diversified ETF that you can find. SPY being very diversified, QQ less diversified, but still 100 companies. And here it says ETFs are extremely popular because they are, I just said diversified. They're more stable than individual stocks. So for example, the company SoFi just a week or two ago announced they're going to issue 1.5 billion more shares. It caused the price of the stock to drop 8%. So if SoFi was part of the S&P 500, which it is not at this moment, it may be soon, but it isn't yet. If SoFi announced it was issuing more shares like it did, it would barely make a blurb on the S&P 500 or SPY. So that's the advantage of having an ETF. One stock is not going to cause the whole thing to go up or down drastically. ETFs are easy to buy and sell. You actually buy and sell them just like you do a stock. If you go to your online account like Robinhood or Fidelity, and you buy an ETF, click submit, within seconds, that order is filled. Unlike a mutual fund, which we're not going to cover, mutual funds usually close at the end of the trading day. So if you want to buy or sell a mutual fund, you put in a buy or sell, and then at the end of the day, it fills. So in the meantime, the stock market could like shoot way up or go way down in the last 10 minutes of trading, but you've bought or sold probably on the wrong side. And in my opinion only, mutual funds are not the way to go these days. It's ETFs by far and away are better. That's my opinion. So ETFs are perfect for strategies like cash secured puts and cover calls. Now, I know we haven't really talked about the details of cash secured puts and cover calls yet, but we're getting to that here quite soon. So just be patient. So here's a graphic of all the stocks in a basket, and combined, it's QQQ. And these are some of the stocks like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, and apparently we got extra shares of Apple and Nvidia in the same basket. So what causes the price of stocks to move? So a couple reasons. Business fundamentals. So you have earnings. Great earnings can make the price go up. New products. If you see the new iPhone 35 come out, it might make the price of Apple stock go up. Economic data. So for example, job reports, rumors that interest rates are going to go up can make the stock market go down. Management changes. Just recently, I've heard of a couple companies changing CEOs, which has made the price of the stock go up. And company performance. If a company is doing well and it has good earnings and good reports, it can make the price of the stock go up. So market psychology. There's some things called fear and greed. And we're not going to talk about the VIX index. It's kind of like fear and greed of the market. We're not going to cover that in this course. Lines I mentioned before. There's news release like on Twitter or X, tariffs, trade embargoes, interest rate rumors, which is down here. So that could make the price go up or down. Emotional reactions based on news of some sort. People get scared, they sell their stock, or people are excited about things and they buy stock and cause the price to go up or down accordingly. So combine all this stuff is like unpredictable. Strategies that depend on the price going up or down usually aren't always successful. For everybody that predicts the price is going to go up, there's a person who's predicting it probably go down. So that's kind of what makes cash secured puts and cover calls popular, because no matter if the price goes up or down or sideways, you're still earning income. Okay, let's talk about market orders versus limit orders. When you buy a stock, you can put an order in and you click market, and whatever price that is trading for at that very moment, your order will execute at whatever it is. However, a lot of things can happen in split seconds that you don't know about. Typically, instead of market order, you probably want to do limit order. So limit order executes only at the price you choose or better. So that's an important thing here, or better. So if you say I'm going to pay $30 for a stock, let's say SoFi, and it's trading for $29.50, it won't necessarily say, oh, Joe is willing to pay $30, rip them off, even though it's trading for $29.50. So you should get the better price. Sometimes the order is not filled right away because that price isn't quite within the range where it's trading. So sometimes it takes a while. The price might fluctuate a little bit in the next 5 minutes to a few hours. It depends. You could put a limit order good for a day or a month or forever till it's filled. Typically, when you do a limit order, you are looking at it within the next few minutes to see if it fills or not. And for option trading, it's very recommended that you use limit orders. And let's look at a picture here. So this is a screenshot of an order about ready to be executed in Fidelity. And you go in, so this is an option trade, and the action is to sell to open. So you're selling a cash secured put here. You're doing one contract, it's a put. Here's the expiration date. The strike price is 55. We'll talk about all these things later. But the thing we want to talk about specifically in this section is the bid, midpoint, and ask. So think of it like this, and this is a limit order. You are selling a car. You list the price. You're asking $3,000. Okay. Somebody comes over and they make an offer, they give you a bid of $2,500. After some negotiating, you kind of come to a midpoint. You say, well, let's agree to meet halfway, and you sell it for $2,750. So this is kind of the same thing. You, as a seller, you're going to ask for top dollar, and as a buyer, you're going to try to get low dollars. And then usually the midpoint is where you agree at some point. This will fluctuate by the second or by the minute. It's constantly moving. So as an option seller, you might come in and pick toward the high price. So you want to sell something high. You want to sell high. So you might come in and try to manually put in $295 and see what happens. The price may move a little bit. You might get that, or you probably won't, but you could try. It depends on how anxious you are. If you go to the midpoint, chances are it would fill. If you're really desperate, really want it filled, you could go even lower at $249. So think of it as you're selling that car and you really want to get rid of it, so you may lower the price. So this can make a big difference, especially if you're dealing with like 10 contracts, because you're dealing with one contract is 100 shares, and we'll talk about that more. So even though this is dollars per share, it doesn't sound like a lot of money. You're thinking, oh, that's only 20 cents. Well, 20 cents times 100 shares is $20. And if you're doing 10 contracts, that's $200. And then it starts adding up a little bit. Pennies do matter when you come into option trading. Okay, and the last item here in the section 2 is why beginners don't necessarily need to predict the prices. So that's a kind of a big surprise when it comes to option trading. So long term, short term, I do care because I want my retirement to grow. But for option trading, the market could go up a little bit, sideways, or down a little bit, and it doesn't matter because doing cash secured puts and cover calls do not require you to exactly guess what direction the stock is going or the ETF is going. So your income comes from the premium somebody pays you up front. And we're going to get into that here in just a little bit. So let me repeat, it doesn't really matter if the price goes up a little bit, sideways or down. You're still making income. And the day that I'm recording this video here, the stock market is down about 1.5%. For the week, I've made several $100s in option income, even though the market is down this week. And by the end of this course, you'll see how that works. And once again, your income comes from the option contract, not necessarily the direction of the stock market. So that wraps up the video for section 2. Section 3, we'll start getting into explaining how options work and what they are.